So obviously the Nets are going to win, get the Celtics up out of here. Boy genius, scam them. They move on to continue to fool the national media and their fan base for another summer. However, yet again, someone asked Kyrie about Boston. And I feel as though I've talked about this a lot. But here we are again where Kyrie said the thing, kinda, sorta, and then your man's the percolator had the rod and defend Boston. And I don't know why, look, I know why, and I think I've detailed why Perk is defending Boston and things of that nature. He's doing it for the check. It's funny how Kwame Brown is calling out a lot of the same shit that I've been calling out, but, it is what it is. Not to say that Kwame took my shit. It's just, if you pay attention, this is what it is. If you pay attention to the dynamics of sports and sports media, this is the outcome. Where you have Kendrick Perkins, who's out here on Boston television, getting paid by a Boston television sports network to say the thing, to go against Kyrie. And he says he's been there 10 years, he's lived there, he's never had any issues in Boston. He doesn't know where this racism, or this alleged racism or bigotry or whatever is coming from. All right. Well, go ask Bill Russell. Go ask Bill fucking Russell about racism in Boston. And yeah, you could tell me that was a long time ago, but it still holds. Those stories still ring out, and those stories and those practices are still carried out, not only still in Boston, but throughout this country. So you want to tell me that was 70, 80 years ago? Okay, that's cool. But tell me that that's not happening in Boston to this day. Tell me that housing segregation doesn't happen in Boston to this day. Go tell the black people in Roxbury that housing segregation still doesn't exist in the greater Massachusetts area. Go tell them that. So Boston and racism are synonymous. Boston sports racism is synonymous. I mean, you could go back. I mean, this is why my Twitter header is what it is, right? Like, if you go to my Twitter account, TheeSamd, look at the header. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Is racism is as American as baseball. That was at Fenway in Boston. They're telling you what it is. Racism is as American as baseball. That's my Twitter header. That was displayed at Fenway Park in Boston. So, when you try to skate on shit, when you try to cop please, Kendrick Perkins is a giant man who was on a championship winning Celtic team. Yes, I would think that he might not be subject to the same type of racism in Boston as a rank and file black member of that community. Yes, he can sit here and anecdotally say he has not experienced racism in Boston, and that may very well be true. Here's what he can't say: that there's a lot of other people in Boston who share that same sentiment. Also, I don't think Kendrick Perkins lived in Roxbury. Okay? I don't think he lived in a part of town where he could chop it up and break bread and hear stories from a communal standpoint in Boston with other black people. I don't think he was in those neighborhoods like that. So Kyrie says the thing. Boston, they call out slurs and, they say, they talk vulgar to you, yada, yada. And Perkins is out here, the percolator's out here shooting them bail. That's what fans do. Fans said F you to Trae Young. What's the difference? The difference is F you isn't calling you the N-word. It's not calling you coon. It's not calling you that stuff has been lobbied at players throughout the old Boston Garden to this new one for decades. Damn near half a century, if not more. Go ask players. I just talked about this a few pods ago, how there still hasn't been a marquee black free agent that has signed in Boston as a basketball player. You can give me Kemba, but that was a sign and trade. And where else was he going to get that bread? Al Horford, Dominican. Name me the marquee black, all the marquee black trade chips or trade acquisitions or free agent acquisitions that they've tried or that they've insinuated or rumored or maybe even have tried to tamper to get, have all said no. Anthony Davis' pop said, hell no, my son ain't going to no damn Boston. He know what's up. I'm sure Kyrie had to have that talk with his pops. And he was like, nah, I think I could really go to Boston and learn under the boy genius. And I say, yo, dog, you know that's Boston, right? Every black father has to have that talk with their son about certain areas you can't or should not venture into. Boston's on that list.